Alright people, Matt the in Black, helping you to create emotional, financial, and physical well-being. And this is a story about how I dissolved my mommy issues, stuff like that, which was started from a gentleman who would ask me, comment on one of my videos. A good question, because I never really have gone into detail on that as a story, and I think it would help you out. And, there is a video I've done. The link is in the description. It'll pop up here about how to dissolve your core energies, and that'll really help you out with whatever it is that you're facing, being stuck with your mom, dad, fears, stress, whatever it is. Because what you don't understand is a lot of people aren't aware of is that the emotional trauma and pain and hurt, sadness, and fear that we hold on the inside is in our conscious and it's running in the background. And that's what screws you up or creates the life of challenge you have in anything you do. And this is why you'll have the same relationships that come up and things come up, because the feelings on the inside, the energy or spells, cause things that happen for you to deal with the feelings, but a lot of us don't deal with it. So how did this all start? How I got over it? Well, I did, when it comes to dealing with conflict with your parents, no one talks about really the way I prescribe it or say. What happens is people tell you that I go to therapy. And that's what I did. And I've been to therapy, I say 3 times, but it's really, I think it was 3 times with two different therapists. The first one is with a therapist in my at a church my family was attending to. My dad and my stepmom were. And I went to her when I was in high school, and I went to her again, I think, when I was in college, if I remember correctly. And and so I thought after those 2 times it'd be great. I was good. And then after a number of years, and when it came to Christmas of 2012, that's when I got a really big wake-up call that I was not over my mother. Sounds weird. That I still had a lot of anger and stuff to do with. I thought I let go a lot of it. Totally wrong. I thought I'd forgive my mom a couple times, which I did. But that was a moment where I was like, here's what happened. That morning, Christmas morning, I thought I was going to wake up on whenever, we're going to just chill, I was going to run, have Christmas presents, eat, and then do whatever. Because the night before, I was at my friend Sylvie's house, and she's Guatemalan, and Hispanics, they tend to celebrate Christmas Eve. They party, we were dancing, taking shots. I was like, hell yeah. So I was kind of drunk when I went to bed, and I was like, shit, I got to run the next day. My sister comes in and is like, yeah, get up. I was like, whatever, because I hate being woken up by people. She came back in like twice. And I was like, leave me alone. Her and I started going at it, arguing, yelling. My mom had unknowingly surprises with breakfast when she doesn't cook. And I was like, where's it coming from? Mom goes upstairs and look at us like, y'all stop yelling. And I'm yelling like, he's wake up. And I said, no, I'm here, but like, look. My mom said, look, you gotta get dressed and come eat because breakfast. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna run because my thing is this: I'm gonna work out first and then eat. If I eat and then run, not gonna happen. I'll wait for like way too long. And so my mom and I then go at it because she goes, no, you're gonna like go downstairs and eat. And I said, no, I'm going to run first, then I'll eat. And that's where the clash of the Titans starts. Her and I start going at it. And she started yelling at me, I started yelling at her. I remember standing in the doorway of what was formerly my room. She goes, get in the room, get in the room, get in the room. And I'm like, I looked down. I remember I looked down at my feet, and I was like, I am in the room, because I was like, fuck yeah, I can say something, I can say what I want, because I don't live with you no more. I just let it all go. I was like, screw this. But then my mom starts pushing me, physically pushing me. And I was like, what? She pushes me. I started defending myself, put my arms up. Stop pushing me. She goes, you need to sit down in the bed. Get down in the bed. I was like, no, I'm not going to sit in the bed. That's my mom's power move. She wants you to sit down while she stands up because she's short. And I'm taller than she is. She starts pushing me, takes her hand, and then starts hitting me on my right arm, hit me. And I'm like, what the fuck, don't hit me? I remember as she's pushing me, she said, don't hit me. And I'm like, you're pushing me. Then I remember grabbing this long tube of gift wrapping paper, taking it and hitting me with it. And I'm like, yo, for real? Starts hitting me. And I remember, and she kept saying, sit down. I said, no, I'm not. My sister, I think in the background was like saying, talking, like screaming for both of us to stop. I'm not giving fucks. I'm pissed off. I'm like, don't care. And then my mom at some point was like, fine, you're gonna do this to me. Get out the house. I was like, fine. I grabbed most of my stuff, I thought. And I was hurt. I was pissed. When my sister and mom had gone downstairs, I'm about to leave the house, go back to my friend Sylvie's house because it's the only place I could go. I opened the door, and I turned around, and right before I closed it, my mom to say, still lives over my father. I turned around and said, I can see why Dad divorced you. Slam the door shut. I said that because when her and I were fighting, she's pushing me and said, this is why I don't respect you. This is why I don't want you in my house. And I was like, oh, okay, you want to go blow the belt? Fuck you, then I'll go there too. Like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, that's where it was. And that's why I said that comment. Now, I said that, I walked across the street and I was crying and I yelled, fucking bitch. Turn around and my mom's there at the door watching me go across the street. It's funny because she would always, whenever I leave the house, would always hold the door and make sure I left safely and shit. And she still did it. And I was like, what the fuck? And that day told me, I was like, okay, clearly I still have some anger to resolve and work through. That put me in therapy again. And I remember somehow for therapy, I got back then into personal development, and I came across Psych K. Look it up. Psych K is where you reprogram your subconscious mind. I got into that, started doing some sessions, and I remember, and this is where it started how I gradually overcame my anger from my mother. I went to therapy and we're just talking, and like, I remember after the argument with my mom, Christmas of 2012, I didn't talk to my mom for, I forget how long. We didn't talk for months. I felt bad. I felt guilty. And I felt like going through like, I'm sorry, I'm your son, and doing that bullshit. Then I sent flowers and a card, no response, nothing. This is what my mom is. Whenever you piss her off and hurt her feelings, she's like, I don't care. Fuck you. I'm your mom. You owe me. I'm not going to talk to you until you come here and like grovel and beg on your knees and some bullshit. Like really dumb shit like that. And I remember like feeling bad and trying to explain to the people. I called my Uncle John, my mom's brother, and two of them were like, well, you know, it's your mom. You said some hurtful things to her. I'm like, fuck you. Yeah, there's a reason why I did. Like, I don't just say this shit just to say it and be dumb and say whatever. Like, it's not the way it works. I said it because I was hurt and said some horrible things, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to say what I want because guess what? I'm in my late 20s. I'm an adult at this point. It's going to happen. Like, what the fuck makes you think that, oh, it's my mom, I'm not going to, like, say stuff to her? Like, it's not the way shit works. And people don't, the older generation doesn't get that. They're like, oh, it's your mom. You don't say this shit. Or I'm like, no, I can say that because I just did, and I'm still alive. So, anyways. And I remember the time feeling bad and, like, reaching out, and I think I called my mom. She picked up. And I asked her, the therapist was like, well, do you want it? The therapist suggested, why don't you call her and ask her to go back to therapy? And I was like, yeah, okay, that's not going to happen. She's going to say no, because I asked my mom years ago when I was 15 when her and I were going through therapy the first and last time. We went through, it was great. I went to therapy again, and the therapist was like, well, why don't your mom come back? I asked my mom, and mom was like, no, I'm not going. And I was just like, what the fuck? So that was once. Therapist again, that this time I was seeing, asked me, and I was like, yeah, not going to happen. I asked my mom said, no, I'm not going. And I was like, okay, that was twice. And then I asked mom again a third time years later, and she still said no. She doesn't believe. My mom swears she's in therapy. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And the second time I asked my mom, said no. And I was just like, got tired of talking. This has been a problem with therapy. A lot of therapy doesn't get you to deal with the emotional wounds that are there. It has you talk, change behavior, and work through it. But in his case with a relationship with your parents, it doesn't really work if you're the one doing all this work and trying and they're not budging. So you might as well just say fuck you and focus on yourself and heal. And I did that without realizing it at the time. I remember going through one Psych K session. And when the thing about Psych K is that before you do it, at least the person I was working with, you can write down the new beliefs that you want to have. And one of them I said, I always remain calm around my mother. And I didn't realize how much that would change things for me with her and emotionally. I remember like doing like the way you do Psyche, if it's on the phone, online in person, but they make you like kind of like put your arms against, like you make an X and you repeat it and repeat it and you can feel the change. Like you can fucking feel it. It's crazy. I remember that as I sat here, I was kind of like, okay, I was sitting there, I felt the change, like, all right, cool, and I felt the difference. Funny enough, the next day or 2 days later, I was on the train going to work. I was listening to the new Eminem album at the time. It was 2013. And then Eminem I related to a lot because of the fact, no, you're not jumping up here, it's a cat. No. Anyways, I remember him, and he had mom issues, and everyone knew about that. And I was like, wow, another guy's mom issues? Because at the time, I was in high school, I was like, I can relate to him. Because how many fucking men talk about issues with their mom? No, you always hear about his dad issues from the daughter and son. Don't diss the mom, though. Fuck that. So I was like, sweet, like, I can relate. And what really got me was in a song called Headlights. He talks about how he forgave his mom and regrets making that song and all those things. I was like, whoa. And that was a punch in the face. So I was like, shit, if he can get over his mom, I have no excuse ever. I remember listening to that song and I started crying. I could feel the tears. I was like, what the fuck's going on? I got to work. Actually, no. Before that, actually, yeah. Here's what happened. It was that event, and I wrote down some story about my mom and our fight we had, and that triggered something. And hearing the song, it was like the universe is like, you need to let go of this shit. I remember at work, I'm writing down this long letter about forgive my mom and all the shit I put her through, and just like I just let it pour out. I just let it go. I was kind of crying a little bit. And I looked it over, wrote everything, ripped it up, threw in the trash can, went to the hallway, sat there, made a long Facebook post. Oh, Mom, I forgive you. I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. And I felt this huge release of energy, the anger being gone. I was like, wow, this video may be 30 minutes. The huge release. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, wow. My dad commented on the post, and he said, son, I'm proud of you, happy for you. I was like, wow. And that was like the first major step, like the first one. I thought it was good. I remember feeling like a fucking weight was lifted. I was like, oh shit, man, let's let it go. Because at the time, I was getting ringworm on my arms every fucking winter like clockwork. It would stay for like 2 or 3 months and then go away and come back a year later. And I was like, what the hell? And I had to forgive her. And it all stemmed from not forgiving a friend of mine because I was sad, and that was part of it, but mainly from her. And so I remember what happened after that. And after that, that started the process of healing, the first major step. And being able to let go of that, I was, since then, except for one time, because I got heated, since then, I've been calling my mom, chill, and not sit shit. There's one time though, I did get mad at her because I got defensive. I was gonna introduce her to my at the time fiance, and I got real heated, and I was like, which makes sense because if you really love someone, for all women watching this shit, a man who truly loves you, who really fucking loves you, when his parents talk bad about you, and he gets fucking heated and wants to like beat the shit out of them, you have a good man, keep his ass. So my mom started talking about my fiance at the time, and I was like, Mom, like, what's wrong with me being engaged to a woman who's got 2 kids? And she's like, well, it's a pain in the ass, you have to step down, blah, blah, it started going on, and I was like, oh, fuck you. Plus at the time I did owe my mom some money. It was like $60, paid her back eventually. And I just lost it, and I was like, fuck you, because I was like, Jesus Christ, I was like, this is so stupid, because this is like, at the time of my life, I was like, yo, so I got mad, right from so. But other than that situation, I've been calm around and cool, and when I got with my coach, Bex McEwen, you can get her book called Feelings Drive Behavior, I learned how to dissolve core energies and breathe through them and dissolve them. That's what I did. So starting like beginning of last year, I started going through all the things that made me sad, scared, angry. And I found there was more stuff with my mom that came up that I didn't know about. Because here's the thing: when you start going through your layers of emotional shit that's there's anger that's there. Then you might find some fear, and then there's more stuff that you built up consciously and unconsciously throughout your life that needs to be let go, release, dissolve. Use whatever word that works for you. So, with that being said, I started the process and I realized there's some anger. Then there's some sadness. There's some sadness I had of like, I remember feeling like, oh my God, am I not good enough? Am I being rejected by my mom? Like, what's up? Because at the time I was dating again and getting slapped in the face, like getting ghosted. And I was like, fuck, is there something wrong? And I was like, then at that moment, I was like, well, my mother, I have a video about that and you can find it. And I was like, holy shit, man. I was like, felt so bad. I was like, oh, my mom. But I knew at the time, now, she wasn't going to be there for me. And I remember feeling like, wow, am I fucked up? I worked through that and I worked through sadness with her and just kept going through, I think it was a couple more. Here's the thing. When you work through a lot of these things, issues, you don't remember what it was about or how many it was. It means you've dealt with it. You're done. And I just kept doing that. I kept breathing and feeling and breathing through anytime I'd feel anger towards her that would come up, that kept coming up, or sadness. Not so much fear with her. There was the sadness where I feel like, wow, does my mom like love me still? And you have shit like that, and the feeling comes up. Whoever watches, whether you have issues with your mom or your dad, and if you have the sadness and you think, do you not love me? Do you not care about me? It's a bullshit story you made up that's attached to emotion, a sadness that you need to feel. Breathe and feel through that, and I swear to you, you'll be good. So, to make a long story short, or in conclusion, basically, that's how I did it. It's very simple. Started with the Psych-K, and then from there, just breathing and feeling through the emotions, whatever came up. And I've done that through not just my mom, but as I did through my mom, other things improved. I did through other stuff with money and everything else. And I've become more of who I am. That's always that's always been there. But it's just been covered up by the emotional bullshit, as I like to refer to it as. Calmer, more confident, funnier. That sounds arrogant. Just being able to be more of who I am, be more present with people, and say some funny stuff and really understand them, see their perspective. You become more of an observer when you do this process. That's what I coach people on. So, but yeah, that's really how I did it. No, like, eclectic or amazing, like, oh my God, an epic story where, my back was against the wall. That's how I did it. And was it an easy process? No. Was it a simple process? Yes. It took me a long time. Like, letting go of the anger of my mother at 27. Oh God, I was like, damn. It was like, I got tired. I was like, I'm tired of being angry. I don't hate her. Like, what the fuck? Finally got rid of it. Let it go. So for all you watching this, if you feel like you'll never be able to let go of the anger or the sadness or the fear, that is totally not true. That's a bunch of bullshit. Because if I can do it, you can do it, and I can show you how to do it as I coach you on it. Okay. Now, if you want to have a session with me and have a discovery session, there's a link for that below. Click on that link, schedule a call with me. We'll do that. But more importantly, this is for those of you who wonder, like, how did you get through it? This is how I did it. It's that simple. So, with that being said, if you feel like someone else needs to see this and watch it, please share. Subscribe to this channel for more stuff like this. I'm adding more stuff to it. I also work in a second channel just for men. But please subscribe, comment on your thoughts on this. Let me know if you have any questions. Love ya. Get in the black. Deuces.